Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Welcome back, and with us today is our good friend Erick Stakelbeck. He is the host of The Watchman. You see it right here on theDove TV, 8 o'clock Wednesday evenings. And of course, you see him on CBN News. You see him every once in a while. He sneaks over to Fox. I don't know if they pay him more over there, but he's over there. But he's made it big time. He's here on theDove this morning. Hi, buddy.
Hey, Perry. Great to be back with you. Congratulations on the new set.
Hey,
I hope to be
thanks.
sitting on it with you one day.
Well, one day, yeah, you're going to come out here, but right now we're a set in the making. You know that very well, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, give us an update. We got a lot going on here. Give us your thoughts on ISIS right now. What's happening over there in Iraq?
Yeah, Perry, I've heard there's a few things going on in the Middle East right now. I don't know. But yes, the Middle East is on fire. What else is new? But really on fire in a way that it hasn't been in some time, Perry. I think we're reaching a dangerous new level. And really it starts right now with ISIS. They call themselves the Islamic State, ISIS. So what they're doing right now is they're going on a rampage across Iraq, Perry. They're massacring Christians. They're massacring religious minorities. They're beheading people. They are crucifying people. Mass beheadings, by the way. They are raping women and children and selling them into slavery. They are enforcing a brutal, brutal, brutal version of Islamic Sharia law across all the areas where they are conquering. And basically, Perry, they've conquered a massive amount of territory in the very heart of the Middle East, in Iraq, in Syria. They're pushing into Lebanon. They're threatening Jordan. They're threatening Saudi Arabia. But for our viewers, Perry, the most important thing is they are threatening the United States. Just before I came on with you, Perry, I read a piece that ISIS leaders recently said that America is going to drown in blood. So their ultimate target, after they consolidate power in the Middle East, is the United States. And make no mistake, this is a terrorist army. Over 10,000 hardened jihadists with advanced U.S. military hardware that they seized when they defeated Iraqi forces. This is a serious, serious threat, and many Westerners are traveling there to join up with this group, Perry. And when they come back here, all bets are off.
All right. Listen, we can talk about our borders and some of them crossing the borders and all that. But why is the world, Erick, tolerating this? It's one thing that we got a bad administration tolerating this. Why is the world tolerating this?
You know, it's a terrible thing, Perry, because the world howls when a civilian is killed in Gaza. After Hamas uses a civilian, a woman, a child, as a human shield, Israel goes to extraordinary lengths not to kill civilians. Unfortunately, in the heat of war, this happens against a terror group like Hamas. The world howls. The UN condemns Israel. They want a war crimes tribunal, et cetera, et cetera. But when ISIS is massacring Christians in the heartland, the birthplace of Christianity, ancient Christian communities, the world basically yawns. And what a sad thing, a sad moral equivalency, Perry. It reminds you of the 1930s. We have this great evil gathering again in the form of radical Islam, whether it's ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah. It's gathering. They're coming. They're telling us what they're going to do, just like Hitler told us what he was going to do. And just as in the 1930s, we're turning a blind eye. We want it to just go away. We believe, Perry, here in the West, that if we're nice to the radical Islamists, they'll be nice to us and leave us alone. If we sacrifice Israel, then look, when they're done with Israel, they'll pack up their bags, they'll go home, they'll leave us alone. What flawed thinking. Hitler started with the Sudetenland, with Austria, then he moved into Poland, and then his goal was world domination. The radical Islamists had the same plan.
What about Kurdistan? It is pushing back, and they are taking some territory back. Are we supporting them enough?
No, we're not, Perry, and it's shameful. As an American, it's shameful. The Kurds, God bless them, have been some of the most loyal allies to America in the Middle East, one of the only allies to the United States in the Middle East. They're fierce fighters. They have a proud history. They're strong people, but they are severely under-equipped. They're outgunned, Perry, by the likes of ISIS. As I said, ISIS is rich. ISIS, by some accounts, is rolling in billions of dollars. And again, that heavy U.S. military hardware, tanks, Humvees, anti-aircraft missiles that they've seized as they've conquered territory throughout Iraq And Syria, by the way, taking some of that Syrian military hardware. So look, the Kurds are outgunned right now. They're begging the U.S. They've been begging for months for U.S. help. And the Obama administration has not stepped up to the plate. There's been a trickle now of assistance. Some U.S. advisors are helping out. Look, if the Kurds have the weaponry, they are tough enough. They're well-trained enough to defeat ISIS, without a doubt. But we are not doing enough to arm these folks. And if Kurdistan falls, it's real trouble. Because after ISIS conquers Kurdistan, they drive south to Baghdad.
Is our airstrikes doing any good over there at all?
They are, but they're too limited, Perry. They are. They've absolutely had an effect on ISIS's advance into Kurdistan. It pushed ISIS back a bit, but these are limited pinprick airstrikes. Mm-hmm. You need a comprehensive strategy, a comprehensive plan to crush ISIS now. Before it's already out of hand. I can't say before it gets out of hand, but before it hits us here. What happens over there matters over here. As I said, Perry, look, they can target U.S. embassies and consulates throughout the world, target U.S. interests abroad. But remember, dozens of Americans, according to U.S. intelligence, have traveled to Syria and Iraq to join this group. These are folks with U.S. passports. They are U.S. citizens. They will return here one day. And when they come back here, Perry, they're not going to get a job at a gas station or go back and finish their bachelor's degree. No. These guys are going to come back hardened jihadists with plans to strike here. That's why this is such a central threat to America right now, and we need to do something about it.
All right. We could talk all day on this. Let me skip over to Israel and Gaza. They're in a little bit of a lull at the moment. Do you expect that to stick, or do you think that'll erupt again?
I think there's a very good chance it could erupt again. Israel wants this lull to continue, obviously, but Hamas feels like its back is against the wall. I think this was a very successful operation for Israel, Operation Protective Edge, over the past month and a half. They weakened Hamas. They destroyed many of those Hamas terror tunnels. They took out a good chunk of Hamas's rockets, although they have thousands of rockets left. I think Hamas is hurting right now. They want that blockade of Gaza lifted. And it seems like Hamas, the big question right now, Perry, is who's calling the shots in Hamas? If it's Hamas's military wing, they're all jihad all the time. They're not looking for any kind of compromise with Israel. So what we could see, maybe more likely, we could see a massive eruption, but we could see a war of attrition, so to speak, Perry, where, look, Hamas every day fires dozens of rockets, and Israel goes in and takes out different rocket launching sites in Gaza, but it's not a massive full-blown confrontation where Israel's going back in on the ground. Kind of a war of attrition is what we could see shaping up. And by the way, John Kerry, our Secretary of State, is apparently going back to the Middle East next week. Who knows what's going to happen with him? His last trip there was obviously a debacle. And what a sad day, Perry, when Israel, the Palestinians, no one is listening to the United States anymore.
Yeah, and we saw Netanyahu basically said, "Don't double guess me again."
Right. Exactly. John Kerry, I mean, this is a guy who he's reaching out, Perry, to Qatar, and Turkey. Turkey and Qatar are Hamas's two biggest supporters, other than Iran. So I'd say they're slightly biased in those ceasefire talks. It's crazy. Yeah. It's just crazy what this administration's doing. It's like they are willfully taking the side of Islamists. I've told you that before, Perry.
Yeah.
I wish I could fly on the wall in these White House briefings when the president is talking about national security and their Middle East strategy, because it defies explanation. It defies all explanation to isolate Israel, to isolate the Egyptian military, to isolate the Kurds, and to embrace the likes of the Muslim Brotherhood, Turkey, Qatar.
Eric, it appears, though, in spite of this administration's bent to support the wrong side, that more and more Americans are beginning to realize what this is really all about and now oppose the administration's policy or lack thereof. So there seems like the word is getting out, and this could show up in the election cycle.
You would hope so, Perry. Look, I would have thought the word would have got out, in fall 2012, in the wake of Benghazi, right?
Yeah.
When, look, the election was 2 months after Benghazi. President Obama was reelected. I mean, to me, if Benghazi wasn't a wake-up call, but now in this second term, and Perry, this is what I feared. This second term of his, Barack Obama, everything is unraveling now.
Right, yeah.
Russia, Ukraine, Putin's on the march. to Hamas, Gaza, Iran going nuclear, ISIS establishing a caliphate throughout the Middle East. Everything is unraveling. Even here in our backyard in Missouri, things are unraveling. So this is what I feared. And look, if Americans are paying even scant attention to what's going on, then they are beyond alarmed. And it should have a major impact in the fall midterm elections for sure.
Erick, are you seeing any, I'm hearing some stories here and there, and I can't validate them, of perhaps even divine intervention when it comes to Israel. Some of the rockets got blown off course and ended up in the Mediterranean. Is that true?
I've seen some of those stories. I can't verify it firsthand, Perry, but I have seen some of those stories. I found it highly interesting, to say the least, because the history of warfare with Israel, 1948, 1967, 1973, Israel's major wars, it's a history of miracles. I mean, you talk to people who fought in those wars, and I have, and they'll say, God supernaturally redirected missiles, rockets. A sandstorm rose up in the faces of our enemies. Also, minefields were cleared. All sorts of incredible stories of God's hedge of protection over Israel and over the people of Israel, over the Jewish people. It's such a... David Ben-Gurion, the founder of Israel, said, to believe in Israel, you have to believe in miracles. Mm-hmm. This is a land of miracles. The existence of Israel, the rebirth of Israel in 1948, Perry, who ever heard of such a thing? 2,000 years, the people of Israel were scattered across the globe, just as the Bible said they would be. And then 2,000 years later, they returned to their ancestral homeland and reestablish a thriving state. I mean, just if that's not proof of God, I don't know what is.
Boy, well said. All right. Are we tracking any terrorists coming across our porous borders down with Mexico?
I am, Perry. I don't know if our administration is.
Good. Thank you.
Right? I mean, look, what can I say? This is an open invitation to terrorists to cross our southern border. You think ISIS isn't taking notes right now? Yeah. I mean, look, it's so porous. It's a dereliction of duty, I believe, on the part of our president. Without a doubt, you can't have a nation state if you don't enforce the borders and the laws of that nation state. And we're not doing it right now. The southern border is wide open. And I can tell you, Perry, over the past decade or so, Hezbollah operatives undoubtedly have crossed that border. Other jihadists have crossed that border. The number of other than Mexicans or OTMs that are crossing that border from the Middle East is increasing, from places like Yemen, Syria, Pakistan, Somalia. So, you hear that and you say, wow, it's tough to rest easy at night sometimes when you hear this kind of information. Of course, we have the Lord. Thank God. We have the great protector. But we are setting ourselves up in this country for a major fall if we don't get it right in our foreign policy and with that southern border. And by the way, our border with Canada is huge. It's even bigger than that Mexican border, and that's largely unguarded as well.
Do you think the faith community is waking up to what's happening in Israel and our obligation to stand with them?
I think traditional pro-Israel evangelicals are energized right now about Israel, Perry, from what I'm seeing. Folks at CBN, theDove, and Kufi, Pastor Hagee, absolutely energized. I do worry, though, about two things. I worry about this new evangelical left, which is all about social justice. And everyone wants equality and justice, but in doing that, they take the Palestinian side and portray Israel as an oppressor. And they practice replacement theology, which basically says God is done with the Jewish people. Well, the Bible doesn't say that. So I worry about that. It seems to be creeping into evangelical circles, this growing evangelical left. They have a conference every year in Bethlehem called Christ at the Checkpoint, where it's a very pro-Palestinian type event, and some major left-wing evangelical leaders are there. I'm also worried, Perry, about young evangelicals. They're also very caught up in the social justice liberal narrative. And again, everyone wants equality and social justice, but look, we can't do that. We can't sacrifice the facts on the ground and the biblical facts in trying to attain that. So I worry about young folks as well. Polls show in this latest Israel-Hamas war that less and less young people under the age of 30, these millennials who we so need to reach, are supportive of Israel. So that's really concerning. A lot of young folks today, non-evangelicals, don't believe in the Bible. and they say, look, okay, Israel, you say Israel has a biblical mandate. Why should I care? I don't believe in the Bible. How do we reach those folks?
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, Perry, it's a war of ideas, and we have to educate. That's our role.
Wow. Well, Erick, thanks for your time. I know you're slammed on your schedule. Thanks, pal. We value your partnership and your time greatly. Thanks for what you do. Keep an eye on it, buddy, and look forward to having you back many times. Yeah,
I'd love to come on longer next time. I apologize. We'll pick up ISIS news today and everything, but next time we'll do it longer. And I hope to get after that new set eventually.
You're going to be here. All right. Thanks, pal. God bless for what you do.
God bless. Okay, thank you.
All right. Again, thank you for your endurance and patience as we were off the air an extra day. We didn't intend to be, but we're back on, and we are in our new facility, and we got a lot of work yet to do. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for your support. We do need it, especially coming through the summer and with this project in front of us. We'll pray about that. But here we go. All from the new Dove Media Center. Look forward to many days ahead in providing you with some great programming. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.